Hey, welcome back to the Dataliction Podcast. We are on the road. If you're watching this right now, we are all very safe, so that's good for you to know.
Got our seatbelts on.
We do. We also have another special guest with us. He's actually on our team, so this is not an outside guest, an inside guest. But that said, if you're watching, that's what we're doing. If you're not watching, you should, because this is pretty cool. We got golden hour. The sun is rising right now. We are driving to go see some of our clients. And so we're labeling this episode. It's going to be two parts probably because we've got a long enough drive. Part one of the road ahead. But in case this is your first time here, my name's John.
I'm Travis.
And we have in the back seat.
I'm Josh.
And we got Josh. So John, Travis, and Josh. We're going to talk about AI consulting and what we've learned so far. Sometimes the best conversations, we believe, happen in motion. We've actually had tons of incredible conversations on this particular drive, but just tons of drives, whether we're at coffee shops with clients or driving to them. And so we want to make sure that you get to just kind of hear what some of these conversations sound like. And we're going to be as honest as possible. We're probably a little deliberately underprepared for this episode, to quote Simon Sinek in all of that. And so I'm excited for where we're going to go. Guys, we've got several sections. We're going to go into it and we'll just kind of, rock and roll. You guys feel good?
No, I'm
Yes,
feeling
sir.
great. I feel great. And one of the things that, like, as you're talking, I was like, what have we learned? Like, what are some of the pieces that people come at me? So I was just at a conference out in Vegas, and it was surprising. I think I counted it up. I think it was over 47 different talk tracks within 2 days of businesses pitching AI.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, I've got AI in this, and AI is going to change that, and AI is going to do this. I can't tell you how many of those conversations I was like, wait a minute. One, you just promised something that I know AI cannot deliver. Like, period. Like, and also, by the way, it was a health conference. And I was like, you are entrusting this voice bot to specifically understand what's going on with this patient and then turn it around. And then all the doctors are all going to know all this stuff. I was like, the amount of liability that you're putting on there, I was like, I've used these enough to know they're not that good. And anyways, it was shocking to me.
So I was on my Instagram just earlier this morning, and is it Tony Robbins? Is that the name of this famous motivational speaker?
Oh, yeah.
He is selling AI consulting.
Yes.
I'm serious. I was just like, are you serious?
Oh, come on. I signed up for it.
Did you? Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. I signed up.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't pay anything for it. Actually, he's doing it where you could pay $1 to get like certain access.
Of course he is.
But it's for free.
It's
I thought
just,
it would be super
well,
funny.
and so that is, one of the things that I think has surprised me. So my first question is, what surprised us the most over the past year about how companies are actually using AI? To me, what surprised me the most is that everyone labels everything as AI,
Oh my God.
even if it's an automation, which is not AI, even if it's an algorithm, which is not AI. And so I think the thing that surprised me the most is what people think AI is, and ultimately like how much of a clickbait it is. People are absolutely monetizing it. Josh, what's some of your favorite perspectives on how people have used, not used, anything? What's the biggest surprise over the last year about AI consulting and everything?
No, that's a great question. I would say one of the biggest surprises that I've seen is how many companies still have no idea how they should integrate it into their process. They have a high level of FOMO and they know that they need to integrate it somehow, but there's also a disconnect, I feel like, between the company and how they're using AI and then how their individual employees are utilizing AI too. I was just speaking with a business owner a couple weeks ago, and they don't have a game plan for that. And I don't think they understand how their employees are using it. So
yeah, dive into that a little bit more, because there are going to be leaders that are listening right now thinking, wait, that might be me. So how are their employees theoretically using it right now that they don't know about?
I feel like it could be, as a baseline with AI, I feel like people look at it as a tool to help them write emails better. I throw in my draft and then I go and give it to ChatGPT and it spits it out. And now I have a better email. That's probably a baseline of how a lot of employees look at it. But I look at AI as so much more than that in terms of a thought partner, of someone I have sitting right next to me as I go throughout my workday to challenge my assumptions or to bounce new ideas off of, or to help me refine things. And I don't know, I feel like using it for your email is the lowest level really that you can utilize
Yeah,
it.
I think that's a great point. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I've been surprised about is how AI has helped me pull more of myself out of me. That's my biggest surprise. And then my biggest surprise is how many people are not using it like that. Like they literally, yeah, if anything, they're not even using AI to help them write the email better. They're using AI to write the email, which is even worse.
Oh,
It's
AI
like-
slop that's just happening
Yes.
everywhere. And you're like, oh, yeah, thanks for using ChatGPT to write this email.
Yeah.
And then it totally discredits you
Yep.
100% because you just became really, really lazy at writing it. And then it doesn't help you think whatsoever. But Josh, what I like what you're saying is that you use it as a partner to help you ask better questions. On the flight back, I was asking it tons of questions. I was saying, now ask me questions.
Yes.
Dive deeper into this whole thought process. What am I not seeing? And I was going through like a target audience, and I was trying to understand like this one marketing campaign that we're working on. And I was like, I need to be able to understand it a little bit better so I can be able to be a better consultant.
Yeah, one of the things that people do wrong is they ask the questions instead of saying, ask me the questions.
Yes.
And I think if there's one piece of advice that you have to start doing is saying, hey, give me 10 questions about this idea that I have. Instead of saying, hey, I have this idea, write me a marketing plan, write me a marketing calendar. It's like, no. We need to make sure that we are actually doing all of the work ourselves in our own brains and saying, hey, give me the exercise, give me the reps, use me as a personal trainer. How can I ensure that I'm thinking about this the correct way?
Drop your phone.
I'm so sorry, guys.
He did. He just dropped his phone. And Josh,
That's a raw, uncut version.
I'm
right
gonna
there,
leave
guys.
this. I'm gonna leave this in the podcast because if people are listening, first they're gonna love it because this is very human.
It's not scripted.
Second, it's just epic. We haven't done this before. We got some extra gear and everything. So, I mean, I'm having fun. We got golden hour and everything. But no, that's that's great. Let me move on to the next section. Okay, so let's dive in more to the over-optimism, and then the perhaps, and I say this gently, but ignorance of what AI actually can do, but then where people are they're being overly optimistic. Not only what those things are, but then we're going to get into why in just a second. But let's first talk about what are some of the top level things you think people are too optimistic. Travis, go.
Agents.
Okay, agents, and explain that for people who don't understand what that
100% is all around agents. Agents are basically saying, hey, I'm going to have my computer or my bot perform a certain task, and then I'll never have to do that task ever again. Or I'm going to have it do my selling for me. And so they'd have these agents, they do their own voice calling, or maybe they send their own email. And I feel like that is totally overrated right now. And I wish it wasn't, because, I think it'd be great, but they're saying that it's going to do all these certain tasks and it's going to take over, and it's not there yet.
Yeah, it's not there yet. I mean, it could be eventually.
Eventually.
And eventually, I actually do think it will be, but it's not here yet. And people are promising it way
It's
too
not
early.
here yet.
Josh, what do you think? Were people too optimistic right now?
I would say, and John, we've had multiple conversations about this. I feel like people think that they can put AI on top of subpar or bad data, and it will cover the deficiencies and everything will turn out okay, and I'll still be able to get good insights from it. And that's just not true.
So talk about what kind of data are you talking about? Because obviously there's, the sky's the limit, but give me a just hypothetical use case of what you're meaning.
Sure. So let's say you have a bunch of advertising data that you're pulling out of something like a Google Analytics or your ad spend or your ad sales, et cetera, and you have millions of rows of rich event level data, if that's not cleaned and prepared and organized and structured properly, even if you put the best AI on there, even if you put the best prompts, you're still not going to get out of it what you want. So you can't use AI as a shortcut to overcome the shortcomings in your data. It is a little bit of a garbage in, garbage out kind of scenario there.
I love that. Have you guys heard of spurious correlations? You guys heard
I
of
believe
this?
so. Yeah.
Okay, so Spurious Correlations is a website that allows you to find correlative data between two completely unrelated data facts. So a spurious correlation would be perhaps that when people eat more ice cream, they are more likely to get attacked by a shark. Okay, that there is correlative data that if you squeeze the data enough, it will tell you whatever story you want it to tell you. Spurious correlations. I was listening to the Dr. Peter Attia podcast the other day, and he was talking through, science, data, and all these types of things. That said, he was making some very funny correlations. To your point, Josh, if your data is not clean, and then you apply AI over the top of really dirty data, you're going to get some very, I'll just coin the phrase, spurious correlations, which I don't know if that's an actual thing, but that said, for this podcast, it is. So Josh, thanks for that about the data. Let's talk about where people are missing, where they actually don't realize AI can help. There are opportunities out there that they should be looking into, and they either don't think it's worth it or they don't even know about it. Travis, go.
Yeah. So I would even go on the flip side of that helping them actually organize their data in such a way they can start doing that. So
Great,
what
so
I
you're
mean,
flipping the negative into the positive.
so I mean, it's basically familiar term with RAGs. So you'd be able to go in and find unstructured data and help to actually structure it in a way that is formatted in a good way.
So structured data, Josh, explain what structured data means, because a lot of times people think, oh, if I just put this all into a PDF, that'll work. That's not structured data. So what is structured data, Josh?
So structured data would be something that is clearly organized into columns and rows. You have it in tables. You have it in something like a data warehouse or a database, where it's in more tabular format. It's in a table that you can go and query, filter, analyze, sum, divide, etc. Basically organized data that you can do something with.
I love that. I am still unsure that everyone understands what that actually means. We're going to dive in a little bit more as we keep going on. All right. So now let's talk about why leaders are overly optimistic or under knowledgeable of those particular areas. Obviously, it's new. It's hard to get into. I want to mainly drill down at why are people so excited about automating these agents, and why are they just not wanting to do hard work, or are they wanting to cut costs? Like, where does this come from? Is it because they watched the Jetsons growing up and they finally get the robot to clean the house for them? Like, what's the whole thing behind it? And the reason I'm wanting to get at this is because if we figure out the motive behind what gets people's interest, then I think that the solution that's caught their attention actually unpacks some of the real problems that should be fixed. So that's where I'm just going to make sure you know where I'm leading. Josh or Travis, why are people so hot on this whole over agentic type of AI?
Well, I have a quick thought on that. So it's hard to watch an hour or two of television without seeing a plethora of AI commercials. So you're hit with that so regularly, which then does breed this FOMO of, I have to do something with this. Everybody's talking about this. One of the points that I wanted to make, that may or may not go directly to your question, John, but I think is applicable here, is there is this buzz about, okay, I'm going to have AI automate things for me, but you have to have the conversation then of, okay, once I have that automated for me, depending on how possible it is to automate in the first place, what am I replacing that time with? you have to replace it with something. You look and see how technology over the years has simplified our lives in a lot of ways, but it's also made it a lot more hectic because we now have we're spending less time doing mundane tasks, and we're applying it in other places. And so I would say that just having AI accomplish tasks for you, that's great. But what are you going to do with that time? And how are you going to apply a higher level of thinking? Maybe you're doing less grunt work, but now you got to be pulling out more insights. You have to be putting more strategy into it.
Yeah, I love what you just pointed out. So thinking is different than doing. And a lot of times we are stuck doing because that's the nature of the job. But when we are able to stop doing a few things, it is not to just free us up to go watch more social media or go outside more. No, the point is now you can apply your human judgment at an even greater level, while something that doesn't require a judgment could be automated. So I
Yes.
appreciate that commentary. Travis, what are your thoughts on this? Like, what's at the root of why these leaders are so excited about this idea of these little robots doing a bunch of work for them?
Well, I think that, okay, so here's the kind of the running joke. When I meet with owners and I meet with leaders, running jokes like, man, business would be great if it wasn't for our customers and our employees.
All of the people.
It's all the people. No, please no, that's being very, very sarcastic. But to a little bit of a point, like they're like, man, I got to deal with a lot of drama today. And I have to work through this system of people and questions. And man, I just want to deal with that. Oh, can I have somebody just hit the easy button for me? And then we're kind of off to the races. So now I've been driving around. I've hit a road closure for the last 3 exits.
Yeah, for those who are tracking with us on this episode, there's a major road north that continues to be closed. So we're just gonna keep driving through these little back roads.
We're going all through the country now.
We'll figure out our way around. Honestly, what a great proxy to the next question.
But
you're gonna finish your thought.
No, here I want to finish the thought.
Great.
Here's also on the negative side of it. Every day I have at least 15, maybe 30 emails that are in my inbox. Hey, Travis, I can introduce a new bot that helps you save time and cut costs. And every time, me as an owner, looking at this and thinking, oh, for our clients, well, okay, well, maybe it could. And right now we're so inundated, but we don't want to lose on saying, well, is there actually something great and big out there? Because every day I hear of some new agent out there or some new technology that's revolutionizing the way we do stuff, or it's a game changer. I hear about it every time. But like my essence of who I am, I'm always looking for the next new thing. I'm always trying to figure out, is there more efficiencies that we can drive with this? Can we actually build a new business off of this? Can this help our customers? And so now it's exhausting. It's exhausting to look through all of the conversations, all through the emails, being like, all right, well, this is trash. Nope, this is good. Nope, trash. Maybe. Nope, this is spam. It's fake. And at the end of the day, you're like, man, I just need somebody to tell me, am I even on the right track, or like, who should I even think or talk about?
Yeah. On top of that, full truthful foundation that you've referenced. Basically, there's a bunch of fake things out there, but then as there are 95% fake things out there, the 5% of real things are super powerful, and you don't want to miss those. So I understand that for sure. That said, even with the 5% of those truly powerful tools, if you use them wrong, or if you have dirty data, or if it doesn't apply to your actual business process, like even the right things used the wrong way can then give you a false negative. So you have 100%. A bunch of false positives, and then you have a bunch of false negatives. And so it is very messy, very exhausting. I don't see a clear, there's not just a 3-step process for how to filter through this. This is 100% biased, but it's also why I'm so passionate about serving. We love helping companies cut through the muck and make sure to be there for them instead of them having to use their own mental margin, their own assets and, of time and focus and attention. I mean, I think attention is the most valuable commodity in all business right now. And so when it comes to getting a partner, that's probably your best bet. That said, you can't always just do the smell test. At the end of the day, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just thinking, I was like, I was on the phone, I was working with another owner, and he was like, Travis, I'm looking at buying this other business. I'm getting ready to spend roughly around $2 million on this business, cash up front. And I've got a payout or, over the next several years, so about $5 million. It's an AI company. It's a dev shop. And I was like, well, can you explain what you're doing? Like, what is it that you're buying here and everything? And he explains it to me. I was like, that's make.com and this other piece of software integrated, and it costs you $60 a month. And he was getting ready to put down, almost $7 million all said in total on this company. But we're inundated by that because everything is changing so fast, and we have to have people out there saying, no, I keep reviewing all these different platforms because, quite frankly, like most of the new like agents that are out there, or even some of the LLMs, it's only like 3 different platforms, and everybody's trying to white label everything.
And I mean, it's just still not that great. It's much better than it was. I mean, that's the thing that I'm probably most excited about, why I do want to stay on top of this, why we research it, why we bench test stuff all the time. But the fact is, I use LLMs all the time. I've got several projects. I'm working on lots of different creative things. I'm working on, I've talked to my robot a lot about my own story, just for fun, therapeutically. I'm testing it out. That said, I asked it the other day to tell me about my own story, and it got everything wrong. Everything was wrong. I was like, that never happened. Why did you say that? They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. My apologies. I was confused. I was like, no, that's fine. I get it. You're a robot. You're not a real person.
It was generative in the wrong way. It was just making things up.
Making my life's fictional story. All right. Hey, before we get to the end of the episode here, the last section I want to talk about are the mistakes that we have made along the way in our own workflows, different things that maybe we thought with our business or things we've seen along the way. Because, I'm trying to think of the exact quote, so I'm just going to make up the idea of it. But the idea is wisdom is actually just someone who has got a bunch of scars. And, if you think of the largest bucks in the forest, those big, beautiful deer that just, they don't get large and big and beautiful with all those horns and antlers and everything by accident. They're the ones that have the scars, and then now they know, don't go there. This is the way you win that fight, all these types of things. So what are some of those mistakes that you feel like, oh man, I wish I would have known that sooner, and I'm glad I learned it, but now I got to make sure and spread this knowledge around? Either of you guys can go ahead and take it.
I have one that immediately comes to mind. So I use AI to help me in programming. And it's been a game changer for me in writing software applications. But one of the mistakes that I made early on is when I was running into errors as I was building out that software, I just assumed that ChatGPT would be able to reason around those errors for me. I was like, well, you're AI, you're super smart. You're going to be able to figure this out and do the critical thinking for me. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I learned, and especially have honed in more on the last couple months, is it is always designed to give you some sort of answer. It may not be the correct answer. Many times, actually, it's a solution that it gave me 5 minutes ago that it just spits back out again that didn't work. And so I've had to start getting a little testy with it sometimes of, wait, you already told me that didn't work. And it's like, oh, okay, well, let's go back and rethink this. So what I've learned is it's only as good as the information you give it. So when I am programming, I need to make sure that in the Python code, I am building in very verbose logs so that when it fails, I can go back into ChatGPT and say, hey, here are the logs, and it's actually able to diagnose what happened. But I have to put in the work at the beginning to make sure that I am setting up AI for success and I'm providing the right information to it. So I think you can take that out of programming and put that in a broader context. You can't just throw something into AI and expect it to give you a great answer and solve it for you. You have to put those parameters around it where you almost have to kind of babysit or guide the AI, and you're still using your human brain to keep guardrails around it, but you're letting AI obviously multiply your impact and effectiveness.
Yeah, I love that. Travis, what's one of the mistakes that you love that you learned?
Okay. This actually has nothing to do actually with the software.
Okay, that's great.
Is actually everything to do with human interaction. One of the biggest mistakes that I've learned recently is of how mistrusting everyone is of AI. And as soon as you start talking about, hey, I use this for doing XYZ, or hey, I helped it create on this project, your credibility instantly goes down. And people are like, oh, well, you just asked ChatGPT to do it. And you're like, well, actually, it took me several hours in order to get to where I was at, in order to have this conversation and the research. And this is funny, that that conference, one of the things that was shocking to me is they did a survey it was a world survey, like how are you likely to trust AI? The US was at the bottom of the list.
Interesting.
Do you know what the stat is on the US utilization as well? I'm just wondering if there's correlative data to use it. The more you use it, the less you trust it. Do you know if there's any data there?
I don't know if I don't know that stat, but I would say that it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Considering India was the highest in trusting.
And then I further then would wonder what type of data would it be? Do they just know how to use it better? And when they say trust, is it because I trust it to do what it can do? I don't trust it to do what it can't do. And so perhaps there's a little bit of an educational barrier with users versus, the more you use it. I don't know. It's fascinating, all of the data. It's very recent. So like, the jury's out on how this is all going to work. I would say for me, I've over-engineered automation and AI before really understanding the core fundamentals to a business's practices, like who they are as a business, what makes them special. And I've applied to generally various sales processes, email automations, marketing messaging, all of these types of things, because I was like, hey, I need to help you go further faster. But that was then at the expense of misunderstanding that actually deliberate patience is sometimes part of who a business is. And so speed is not always valuable. And if we go too fast, too quickly, we've distilled everything down to fast food. And as we all know, we eat fast food in general as a last resort. It's like, I'm eating here because I don't have the time. I'm on the road. I got to get my kids. It's never like, hey, everybody, let's go have a good meal. Let's go get fast food. It's like, no, I mean, unless you're doing it ironically, perhaps, but it's a fast food is a food of necessity, of mechanics, of like, I need it fast, but it's never like the quality. So if you're talking to businesses that want to do quality, many times deliberate patience and intentionality is a value. So if you over automate, you miss a lot of the nuance beauty of those business and sales experiences that they're crafting. So that's one of the mistakes that I've learned. All right, we're going to wrap up this episode. Any final thoughts on this idea of what we've learned so far, AI, business consulting in general? Travis, we'll give it to you. Then Josh, you can take it, and then I'll finish us up.
Yeah, I think everything continues to change so fast. And if you think you got it, I would say, wait a week and then you're like reevaluate. And that's something that we as owners and consultants always have to continue to look at is okay, is this meeting the need of our current environment right now? And you just can't set it and forget it any longer. It is, I constantly have to adapt and help make sure everybody's coming along. I think the biggest actually issue that we're going to face right now is change management and how we view business and how we now interact with one another today.
Yeah, I love that. We are definitely changing. Josh, what are your final thoughts here for this episode?
So Travis, I'm going back to what you were saying earlier. You mentioned 15, 20 emails in your inbox on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Probably at least talking about AI. It seems to me that we're in the space where if you are touching AI in any sort of way and you're using that in your marketing as a service, it's probably more important than ever to really set yourself apart and not just use AI as a buzzword that you think is going to get you in the door, because it is such a hot button topic right now, because there are dozens of other companies that are hitting that same person's inbox on that same day. So it really means you have to be human and you have to show that what you are offering is truly genuine. It's not just vaporware. It's not just, hey, I'm throwing AI on top of this to get to be clickbait.
Josh, I love that. I'm going to piggyback on your closing thought that I believe that the AI moment is not as much a technology moment as it is a human moment.
Mm-hmm.
If we think that if we realize that the advent of this new technology, that is the new internet, honestly, for AI, but you also have that following this incredible global moment of the pandemic where we had to kind of disassociate from a lot of our things that kept us human. When you apply the social commentary on where we just were about 5 years ago, and then now how hyper technologically focused and these robots we're interacting with, I believe we're at one of the most human moments in business that we have been in a long time. And so tying it back to you, Travis, of this change moment and change management, leaders have to be more in tune with humans and people now more than ever. They've got to be more connected because we are going to have a lot expected of us in terms of the tactics and mechanics and the buttons and the widgets and the robots that we use. We've got to be ready to help guide everyone along with ourselves into that final moment. You know, Ernest Hemingway said it best: the future arrives gradually and then suddenly. And so that's exactly what I'm excited for. That we're going to wrap up today's episode. And guys, thank you so much for bearing with us in the road ahead, part 1. Thank you for everybody that are still listening to this episode. Hopefully you've been entertained at the very least, but also educated along the way. This is obviously the Dataliction Podcast. We want to take data, we want to turn it into the right action to help you grow on purpose. If you've listened this far, you owe us a 5-star rating. Please like, share, and subscribe. Put it on your own feed. Make sure you can get this out to people who need it. We're here to be learners who help other people learn. And we're just so grateful to have you here, and we'll check you out again next time.